Good morning, and thanks for listening. It's morning here in Hawaii, but let me go on with the subject. I am Dr. Wilhelmina, and each recording I bring you information on the 8 pillars of wellness. If you don't know what they are, I'm going to tell you really quick. There is physical, social, emotional, occupational, financial, spiritual, intellectual, and environmental. And the topic I'm going to talk with you about today is solitude. And I would say that falls into environmental and may bleed into social and any of the others, depending on how you handle it. So, oftentimes people think of solitude as loneliness, but they're two different things. For loneliness, you may have or will have some effects that relate to negative feelings. So, loneliness is marked by a sense of isolation, while solitude, on the other hand, is a state of being alone without feeling lonely, and it can lead to self awareness because you're taking that time to experience the solitude and reflect on yourself. Loneliness, when you're lonely, you feel like something's missing. You're not connected. Also, you might feel like you're lonely when you're with people. I don't know if you've ever experienced that. I have. So let's talk a little bit more about loneliness. I'm going to give you an example of when I felt lonely. I was in a relationship. Nah, I call it a situationship. Situationship. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It wasn't really a committed relationship, but it lasted over, I say, 3 years off and on. This individual involved with would call me pretty often, want to spend time together. And as a woman, I was connected. I thought I was connected. I felt I was connected. But at the same time, I wasn't. So this loneliness thing it was there. It hit me hard. When I was alone, I felt alone. When I was with him, I felt alone because there really wasn't a connection. In his actions, there may have been a connection, but not really. I wasn't taking the time out to really look at the situation and think about what I was getting from it and what he was getting from it. And needless to say, that's another podcast. Why would I even allow these things to happen? Where I'm continually seeing someone and taking my time to be available for that person. And, you know, it was just really about one thing. We all know what that was, but consistent. Wanted to have it consistently. So it's not funny, really. I'm laughing because now I've accepted it and understand it. So, but that is a good example of being lonely. It's an extreme one, but you could not even be talking about relationships and still feel lonely. You're around people all day at work. You're around people who are your friends, but just feel alone. So let's go to solitude. There's benefits in solitude. We all actually need solitude at times in our life. And solitude is just it's a good feeling, taking that solitude and being in a state of alone but not lonely. It's a positive and constructive state of engagement with oneself. So you've got time to think about life and think about how you're living it, to enjoy and entertain yourself. You're well entertained on your own. I've also been there. I would spend every day in my house, and this is very recent. and I loved it. It wasn't a, oh, I wish I was with somebody, and maybe there was somebody I wished to see, but it wasn't overtaking my emotions to where I felt lonely. No, I entertained myself with my side businesses. I was so hustling on those, but I was alone. I also entertained myself with Netflix, Hulu, even HBO Max. One of my favorite shows that I went through so fast was Russian Doll. It was really good. But at the same time, I had moments when I wasn't doing anything. I'm just here enjoying being in my apartment, being home, and thinking about the things I needed to think about to get myself straight, make sure I had a good point of view of life and what I was doing. Solitude suggests peacefulness stemming from a state of inner richness. It is a means of enjoying the quiet and whatever it brings that is satisfying and from which we draw sustenance. And it was a good feeling. I felt good. And I had friends that would call me, especially one that I was really close with. Hey, girl, let's go do this. Let's go do that. I'll be like, nope, I'm okay. I don't want to go. I want to stay home. I want to just be in this solitude. And I was happy doing it. Um, Even people would say, oh, you need to get out. But I didn't feel like I needed to get out. I needed to refocus. I needed to be focused on the good things in life. And I was refreshed. Solitude is refreshing. It's an opportunity to renew ourselves. In other words, we replenish ourselves. So for me, solitude did wonders, and I was alone for a long time, but not lonely. And that's the big difference. Loneliness can be harsh, it's a punishment or a deficiency state. It feels like discontent, and you might feel estranged, but awareness is the big deal. So, taking some time away to be alone and intentionally, living intentionally, is important. Um, I eventually scrolled back out, strolled back out into life and getting out. But it's still not a lot because I enjoy being alone. I enjoy being in my place, being peaceful, away from the dramas of this world. And then when I go to work and I have challenges and things I have to deal with at work that might be trauma or might be um, uncomfortable, I've got the energy and the state of mind to handle it. I'm not suggesting that you just stay home and be alone like I did. I really needed that. I needed to refresh myself and um, disconnect from other things and people and just be into me and what I'm doing. And so it was good for me. But now I'm starting to venture out a little more. And that's good too, because I know how to step away and take my break. When you're going and going and going, and people are talking at you, chatting at you, and you're just constantly dealing with some of the negativities that are out there, maybe have friends that can be kind of negative, and it just enhances the negativity you already have within you. And you put yourself in situations that are not positive, that are negative, that just drains at you. So sometimes you have to come in, be alone, and refocus and be good about being alone and not needing to be with anyone. So I think I did that for about a year and a half. And I come out of it healthy, refreshed, and ready to handle the days that I have in front of me, difficult work days, difficult friend days. I'm just life, death, people sick. You can't be with them if you live too far away from them. Just being able to handle the negativity that comes with every day. So today, I brought you information on solitude versus loneliness. I also told you about the 8 pillars of wellness, and you can find them online on Google. You can look it up anytime. Look up 8 pillars of wellness, and you'll see them. Also, one thing to add is that I got this article from Psychology Today. So some of the information I gave you was from the article, and it's called What is Solitude? And I really liked it because it compared the solitude to loneliness, so you could kind of understand that loneliness is one thing, solitude is another. Solitude isn't lonely, solitude is refreshing and recharging. Loneliness is giving you negative feelings. You're feeling off balance, you're feeling left out, persecuted, you might feel isolated. All these things might be a part of that for you, and they might not. But remember, solitude suggests peacefulness, a rich state of inner being, and it gives you that draw of sustenance. So I would suggest solitude for anyone feeling the um, isolation and loneliness. I would suggest being okay with the fact that you're alone and letting go of the loneliness. Focus on you and what you need. And it's good to evaluate your current situation, whether it's a situationship, a relationship, or nothing. And are you going down that rabbit hole of isolation? And you may need to connect with your friends, your good, supportive friends, your positive, good, supportive friends. You may need to do that if you're in a pit of loneliness. But you don't have to be with people in order to be in solitude and be okay with it. It's working on your mind and rephrasing the statements you tell yourself, like, nobody loves me, nobody cares, I'm all alone. If I don't have anybody, then I'm lonely. You got to be okay with yourself. And it takes a little time. All right, that's it for me today. Thank you for listening. I'm not sure what subject I'll do the next time, but it will be in those 8 pillars of wellness for sure. So take care. Have a great day. Thanks for listening.